So, anyway, what we're supposed to talk about today? We're going to talk about powerlifting,
she's got
right?
some important shit coming up. Talk about that.
Yeah. All right.
You got to tell us about this Surf City coaching thing you're doing, whatever that is.
Okay.
Surf City. Well, let's talk about the powerlifting meet first.
Yes.
All right. That's in, where is that? Helsinki or Malta or?
Yeah, this year Worlds will be in Minsk, Belarus.
Minsk, Belarus.
Belarus.
Minsk, Belarus.
Yeah, so I'm sure it'll be quite the experience.
Oh yeah, it's not easy to get to Minsk, Belarus.
No.
Now is it?
No, not at all.
I think you'll probably fly to Heathrow, and then fly to maybe Frankfurt from Heathrow, and then take a bus from Heathrow to maybe Gdansk, and then get a guy with a bicycle to pump you over to Minsk.
Yep, I figure, my goals are to medal and stay alive.
Yeah.
So
There'll be a flatbed truck with chickens. At some point.
Chickens in a flatbed truck, and Leah will be nestled in. The chickens will keep you warm.
Right, and then I'll bring
Feathers,
some vodka. We'll be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, white alcohol, good white alcohol, no doubt.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
why did they? I guess whoever in Minsk won the bid from IPF, right?
Yes.
And of course, USAPL is, picking up the tab for all of this because they're a legitimate national organization. What meet is this? What meet is this?
So this is the Raw Classic Worlds
The Raw.
Championship.
So it's not the uniform classic.
No.
It's the
So
naked
it's
classics.
Raw. Yep.
And I wonder when IPF is going to go ahead and admit that their one-ply shit is just, it's over with.
Yeah.
We're done
Yeah,
with
there's
all that.
definitely a
What's
lot
the-
of debate. The equipped
Yeah.
people are very adamant that it's not dying down, but Raw
that's-
Nationals is just getting bigger and bigger every
Well,
year.
if the equipped stuff is not dying down and Raw is getting bigger, then that means that there is a net growth in the sport, and what end of the sport is fueling the net growth? This is just a simple math problem, as most things are, really. And I don't understand why they don't de-emphasize this equipped stuff. It's impossible to standardize those performances. This is the deal, because you don't really know what one-ply suit to the next added to the squat. You really don't know what one set of reps added to the squat compared to the other. And
Right.
you certainly as hell don't know how much the shirt added to the bench press, one to the next. So,
Yeah.
I think this equip thing is in its death throes, and it's about time that it is. It was always a bad idea, and in fairness, what happened was the IPF failed to adjust the technical rules when they should have adjusted the technical rules when supportive gear was being developed. They should have stepped right in, right then, and put this all to a stop, but they failed to do so. They just are apparently unwilling to convene a meeting of the Technical Rules Committee and draft things that keep the sport honest. For instance, here's a lovely example. I think the first sumo deadlift was done about 82, and
Okay.
I may be wrong about that, but that was done about 80, in the early 80s. Mike Bridges was the first one to pull really heavy weights and add to his total with the sumo deadlift. The first national meet at which that occurred, certainly the first Worlds at which that occurred, the IPF should have convened a technical rules committee meeting the next day. And they should have just made the simple rule change that all deadlifts shall be performed with the hand with the grip outside the stance. And it would have, and nobody, and see, now here it is,
Definitely
2017.
would have stopped.
2017, and you've got 2 or 3 generations of people that think that the sumo is the deadlift. Well, of course it's a deadlift. It's, that's the only way to deadlift.
Yes,
And
it is quite established in competition now.
it's quite established. Now you can't fix it now. And to the extent that you've got lighter women's division lifters taking a perfectly legal stance and grip and pulling a world record about 1.5 inches. Just barely taking the flex out of the bar until the plates clear the floor, and it's a legal deadlift. And that's obviously not what we are supposed to be doing. That's obviously not. That's just gaming the rules. Well,
Yes.
it's the rules' fault.
Pushing,
isn't it?
This
is the fault of the
competition
rules.
as far as you can.
Certainly.
to win.
And the same thing on the bench press. The same thing on the bench press is the case. I don't know the name of the girl, the Russian lifter.
Yeah,
who
and there's
takes
another one from China too.
Right.
Very small range of motion.
A legal grip, 32-inch on the IPF bar. Big, gigantic, flexible arch in the thoracic spine, and a bench press with a range of motion of about 1.5 inches. And it's a world record. And there's nothing anybody can do about that, despite the fact that that's obviously not the intent of the bench press. It certainly wasn't what everybody had in mind back in 1975 when this whole thing got started. And what would have had to have taken place a long time ago when the IPF, the juries at the Worlds started observing very, very short range of motion benches that were not equivalent one weight class to the other. So, in other words, the problem here is that the lightweight women's division, and whatever the weight class is this year, and the heavyweight men's are not doing the same movement pattern. It's a different, a different exercise completely. They're not comparable lifts. And there's an easy way that could have been dealt with, and all that had to have been done is the rules committee should have convened and said that at the bottom of the bench press, the head judge, side judges shall observe the forearms to be vertical at the bottom of the range of motion, vertical in the frontal plane. And I guess that would be
Yeah.
Yes,
and then we get
vertical
to
in the frontal plane.
judging,
And
right?
and as a result, that's a judgment call, just like depth on the squat, just exactly like depth on the
Judgment
squat.
calls always are there.
And so the competitor will take a grip width that would produce the same range of motion relative to chest height as everybody in the contest. You'd get an advantage if you're very flexible, but you can't control the whole thing. But all you had to do was make that one little rule change, and now all the records are kind of comparable to each other. But the way it is right now, it's just it's to the point where people that aren't familiar with the sport, that hadn't been looking at it for a long time like we have, will observe these abbreviated motions and say, what do you call that?
Yeah. No, that's for sure.
They call that the same thing as they called it the bench press in the men's division, but it's not the same thing. You're right, it's not the same thing, and it should be, shouldn't it? Well, it's problems they've got to solve.
I know.
So you're going to is this the Masters Raw or the Open?
Yeah, so I'm on the Masters team.
Okay.
And this championship covers everyone from juniors through Masters. So I think it's about 8 days of competition. And the Masters will probably run first. They'll go Masters, juniors, and then Open.
Right. Well, now I'll feel better. I'll feel better about this meet if you'll tell me that USAPL is in fact paying the way for the Open lifters to go to this meet.
I would feel fantastic about that if that were the case as well, because I do think that if the USAPL is going to invest money, which I think it would be great.
Well, if they're a
it should be in
national
the
organization,
Open, not in the Masters, but they're not doing that.
Right. They should be paying for the Open lifters.
Yeah.
The team members of the Open team
do represent the face of the sport. You know,
of course
like,
they do.
Sometimes people will they'll get their feelings hurt and they'll say, "Oh, Masters, we should be getting the same thing."
No.
We're not
it's a
in the
restricted.
same at all.
No, you're not. It's good that you understand that. It's juniors and Masters is a restricted division. The Open division, which is not restricted because it's open, represents the face of the sport, and those people ought to have if this is a legitimate sport.
Yes.
They ought to have their expenses paid to the Worlds, or you haven't got a legitimate NGO.
Yeah, I think it would be.
I'm sorry.
I think it's a shame that they don't have their expenses covered. They do have some sponsorship through the USAPL, I believe.
Well, let me ask you another question. How about to the equipped meet? Is the equipped meet Open division paid for?
As far as I have heard, it is not, but they did get some uniform and things like that covered, which the Raw division did
some
not.
sweats. Well, that's interesting. So our national governing body for powerlifting is not paying any of the team lifters' ways to the Worlds.
Right.
Okay.
And unfortunately, our fees went up this year.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm sure you heard. So,
Well, yeah, it's an interesting
quite
way to govern a sport.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem, obviously for Masters lifters, for junior lifters, I think we do represent more of the hobby side. I mean, obviously it's an intense hobby. So,
that's understandable. I don't think anybody reasonably would expect USAPL to send the Masters and the juniors to the Worlds.
Right.
You could even argue that it's not reasonable since Raw is regarded as a side show at this point, regrettably. It is. It might even be arguable that since the main sport is equipped, they ought to send that they would send the Open equipped team to the Worlds. Right. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe they are. Maybe they are doing that.
Yeah. So as I understand, there's different, because coming up in 2017, there's the equipped World Games. So there is still that maybe higher level competition that exists for equipped that we don't have in Raw yet.
Well, and that's just a mistake they have probably 5 years to correct. And I think they probably will. USAPL just does what it's told. And I think IPF will address this. In all honesty, I don't know. It very well may be that the national governing body is paying for the Open team's way to the Worlds. And if they are, for equipped. And if they are, that's fine. I'll shut up. But if they're not, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. This is just a hobby organization. The whole organization is a hobby organization, if that's the case. So we'll just see what the comments on this video say. We'll hear about it in about 3 minutes, won't we?
Of course.
After this thing goes hot, we'll know pretty quick if we're wrong, won't we?
Exactly.
I know the names of 2 or 3 people that are going to tell us whether we're wrong or not. And I may be forced to issue a formal apology, and if that's the case, I will.
There you go.
I'm wrong all the time. All the time. And I hope I'm wrong about this, but I don't know, and we'll see. So that meet is when?
That's in June. So right about June 14th.
June 14th in Minsk, Belarus.
Yes.
And we will certainly be waiting on the results.
Yes.
From that, and I know you're going to do well, as you always do. Now, Nick, what was that other thing we're supposed to talk to Leah about here?
I heard surf something. Surf barbell.
Surf, barbell. Surf and safari, barbell.
Right. Surf City Strength. Since
Surf
I surf
City
so
Strength.
Much.
Surf City Strength. That sounds like a gym.
Right. It's not actually a physical gym yet.
Oh, but it's...
But that's the goal.
So what is it? It's your personal training business? Is that what's
Yes.
going on right now?
Yep.
Well,
So
that's
that
cool.
represents my personal training business here,
Well,
which
that's
has
good.
been picking up. It's just growing by
Good.
leaps and bounds, which has
Good.
been fantastic.
We've got lots of old friends in the Santa Cruz area from back in the CrossFit days. And
Yes.
I'm sure you're meeting some of them as time goes along.
Definitely.
And a bunch of good people out there.
Yep.
The area
Yeah.
itself is a complete crazy house. It's an absolute crazy house. And if you don't believe me, go to downtown Santa Cruz and just stand there for 5 minutes. And you'll see what I'm talking about. But as far as we've got lots of friends out there. Our friend Mary Conover, the editor of all of our books, one of the indexer, certainly, of all of our books,
Okay.
has offered valuable input to every one of the projects we've had. And we love her dearly. She's a dear friend of the company, dear friend of mine. Several guys, Eva, our friend Eva Twardarkins, lives out there. Eva's the dearest, sweetest creature in the world.
Yes.
And, oh, God, there's some guys still out there. Ronnie Booz, old friend of mine. You met Ronnie yet? Yeah,
I've met him.
Good guy. Good guy.
Yep.
Whiskey aficionado.
Yeah. So
Several other
there's,
people,
and there's,
so-
I think there's more interest in. But there's definitely a growing interest in the Bay Area for powerlifting, which I think then transfers over for just strength training.
Right.
So that's been a real positive.
And they're only, 90 minutes from you? Is that
who?
right? Bay Area, hour and a half, 2 hours?
I'm from Silicon Valley. I'm only 30 minutes from the Silicon Valley. So it works out perfectly. I'm about 30
Well,
minutes.
you mean San Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah, right. But I mean
Yeah,
the Bay
San Jose.
Area. From Bay Area, you're 2 hours, right?
If I'm not
remember.
in traffic, I go up to Oakland sometimes to train with Tom, and it's
Right.
just over an hour for me. So.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was further away than that. So they're definitely within your market reach.
Yes.
You'll have some draw from up there. And of course, we got several coaches up in the Bay Area.
Yes.
Tom and Gwen Brooks, and who else is up there?
Catherine Bickford is new.
Bickford's, she's a new one up there.
Jeremy and Kelly, and there's actually a big group of people right there in Oakland.
Yeah.
Now. So I'm working on the South Bay target.
You're picking up the leavings, I think, from the actual Bay Area, right?
Yes.
All right.
yes. And
Well,
then I
that's
do
fine.
get
You
the
can make a
draw
living
from
on
the
that.
South too.
Yeah.
I have Monterey, Carmel, all that area.
Gilroy.
I've had people come up from there too.
The onion capital of the world.
You're thinking of the artichoke capital of the world?
Or the artichoke capital of the world too.
Right. Yeah.
I see.
And the garlic capital. Of
Garlic
the world.
capital of the world.
Yeah.
All that
Yeah.
actual. One of the few places in California that actually produces physical objects. That's good.
Yes, we have quite a few
good.
out there.
That's good.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So it's I love it. It's been a good change. Getting the cert, the starting strength cert has definitely made a huge difference, and I get a lot of referrals through the site. But just as well as I've been more proactive as a coach.
Right.
I would say on a weekly basis, I'm probably working in some fashion or another with probably anywhere from 40 to 45 clients right now. So
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
That's
so
impressive.
I'm
I
loving
think
it.
you are, in fact, about to switch your educational emphasis from curriculum consulting to strength and conditioning consulting.
Right.
You
And
see that happening?
It's definitely a big possibility. Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Good, good.
I love teaching. So switching to coaching is not a huge change.
No, it's just teaching something different.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
And I've definitely enjoyed working with a wide demographic and with adults. I still like working with kids, and I still do that. But it's been a good change and challenge to be working with adults. And I've been able to work with a lot of people from different walks. The new people. My mom, getting her under the barbell recently. People who've never been into the gym before, to guys who are just killing it, and they come in strong already, but they want to lift more efficiently, and we get them stronger. So
Excellent. Well, Leah, it sounds like you're kicking ass and taking names.
I try.
in the Santa Cruz area, and
Yes.
good luck to you at the upcoming meet. we'll be sending you a present. And,
Thank you.
And you take care of your training and just do the best you can do, and we will touch base with you after the meet.
Sounds good. Yeah,
And we might even see you before then.
That's my hope.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Because, I need to, my goal is to go and definitely medal at Worlds.
Good.
So
Good. I hope
I'm going
so.
to be investing
I
everything I
think-
possibly can and making sure that happens.
I
So,
feel it's there.
good.
Thank
Me
you
too.
for being with us on the podcast, Leah. We've had Leah Lutz as our guest, and we'd like to thank you for joining us on the podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.